Welcome to this week's episode of Jet Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper, aka the Jet Lag Guy. A lot has happened in the area of business travel this week, so let's get started. And firstly, it's a very somber mood here in Australia, as to date, 16 people have been killed in a mass shooting at Bondi Beach, targeting the Jewish community who are celebrating Hanukkah at a community event. My deepest sympathies go out to all who were affected in this terrible tragedy. And now over to business travel. Let's start with a big story in business travel. The United States has now imposed conditions on travellers from 42 countries, including Australia, to reveal all of their social media activity over the past 5 years under the new rules. Travel from Australia to the United States has declined in the last few years. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, there were 100,000 travellers per month, but currently it is dipping below 50,000 travellers per month. These latest requirements are unlikely to help the country's struggling tourism sector that is being felt keenly in tourism destinations such as Las Vegas. Americans are also pulling back from international travel, with cost pressures cited as the main reason. European destinations were particularly affected, with the perception that they were not good value for money. Younger travellers, or should I say non-travellers, are particularly pulling back from international travel. A survey has been done by UK research firm Click Intelligence, and the most hated airline in the world is, drumroll please, American Airlines. The firm used a dissatisfaction index and American Airlines came out on top, or the bottom depending on your point of view. I have to admit I was surprised by this result. I've flown American many times without any mishap. Southwest Airlines is introducing a new policy for people of size that is controversial. As of the 27th of January 2026, passengers who, quote, cannot fit within the width of their seat's armrests will need to purchase an additional ticket in advance. Currently, these travellers can either pay for a second seat up front, with a possible refund later, or request a free extra seat at the airport if one is available. Now over to some research. Something more horrifying for you to worry about. Research out of France shows that ultrafine particles, which can cause lung damage and are linked to early deaths, including that from lung cancer, are prevalent for those who fly. The study found, quote, the greatest concentrations of ultrafine particles were measured when passengers were boarding and when aircraft were taxiing. On average, the levels were more than twice those that the WHO defines as high. This polluted air was gradually flushed from the cabin once airborne, but it increased again on approach to landing, possibly from high concentrations close to flight paths and downwind from airports. This pattern was also found at the destination airports. Now, to research out of the US regarding social jet lag in teenagers. A study of over 3,500 adolescents found that over 35% of youth had social jet lag of 2 or more hours, which is associated with higher BMI, body mass index. These inconsistent sleep patterns in adolescents have been found to have widespread negative effects on the developing brain. And file this under research that surprised nobody. Research out of Tunisia looked at the impact of staying awake for 26 hours in 13 male physical education students, assessing their ability to run and their cognitive performance. The researchers found, quote, 26 hours of continuous wakefulness led to decline in attention, alertness, and psychological state, ultimately resulting in impaired 3-kilometre running performance in young recreational runners. And finally, you might have seen my humorous campaign to ban blue and white lights on Christmas trees, and the line, won't someone please think of the reindeer? Apologies to Simpson fan. If you have any questions or want to know more about what I do, check out my website at www.jetlagguy.com.au. There's another book on the way, and you'll be the first to know when it's released. And that's this week's Jet Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper, aka the Jet Lag Guy. Thank you for watching.